Strawberry Jam is a Celeste mod that released in February 2023, and I honestly think it's the best mod of all time. I have a long history with Celeste, and for most of that time I had no idea about mods or the modding community. I first played through the game in late 2019 when I was 11 years old, but I never held it to the same level as my other favourite games like Garfield's Scary Scavenger Hunt. About 2 years later I bought the game again on PS4 because I couldn't be bothered to get my Switch out. You might think that's a bit irrational, but I was practically drowning in money and riches at this time, as it was shortly after my 13th birthday. I still didn't find out about mods until late 2022 when I bought the game again on PC, though I only played a couple before dropping the game for another year. But on February 17th, 2023, exactly 10 years ago today, the mod Strawberry Jam was released. It was the biggest collab ever made in Celeste, and it still is to this day, featuring the work of over 350 people. All the music, art, and levels in this mod are entirely original, and it took over 2 years to finish. I started playing it immediately, and the quality of the levels just blew me away completely. Each level in Strawberry Jam centers itself around a mechanic that is most commonly a feature of the original game that has been altered. For example, a normal Celeste bubble does this, but if you're playing Bee Berserk, bubbles do this. Another example is the Theo throwable. Normally he looks like this, but in Strawberry Jam he looks like this, this, and this. The battery is probably one of the best Theo redesigns, as it also features these battery sockets that require the batteries to open doors. While not all of these were created specifically for Strawberry Jam, it still shows just how skillful the modding community for Celeste is. But that isn't the only version of Theo that doesn't put an interesting spin on gameplay as well. You have propeller boxes, puffer bowls, crates, and roses, which actually do the exact same thing as propeller boxes but just look better. There are some mechanics that don't even iterate on other mechanics in the main game and are entirely new. Examples of this are skateboards, these weird lanterns, time-changing orbs, new bubbles, big VHS players, and even Fruit Loops. Having such an insane amount of custom content in a single mod is extremely impressive as it is, but it also all looks incredible. No offense to anyone that worked on the 2020 Spring Collab, but I'm just going to compare some of their visuals. Here's the Spring Collab Intermediate Lobby, and here's the Strawberry Jam Intermediate Lobby. This isn't meant to put down the Spring Collab, but more to put up Strawberry Jam. Here are just a few other amazing looking maps in Strawberry Jam. Lipe Lagoon was the first map I played in the mod, which features the Fruit Loop mechanic that I mentioned earlier. I remember admiring every little thing about it, the custom background, the original music, and how instead of classic lava death pits there were pools of milk. I thought, surely this level of quality can't uphold for every other map, and, as you probably could have guessed, I was wrong. Every time you enter a new map in this mod, it's almost a guarantee you will be met with an extremely creative, original, and fun experience, and I can't recommend it enough. To anyone watching this thinking whether or not they should try Celeste mods, trust me, and just play them. A lot of people think the higher difficulties are too intimidating, which is fair enough, but Strawberry Jam actually starts easier than the base game's harder rooms. There's a lobby for each difficulty, and those are beginner, intermediate, advanced, expert, and grandmaster. These lobbies act as hub areas where you can access a large range of levels, and each one is divided into a sort of sub-difficulty, green, yellow, or red. This means there are 15 total difficulties, which allows for almost anyone to progress through the mod smoothly, and the extra tech gems in the library are also super helpful for jumping into a new difficulty. But, like most hard games, not many people keep pushing to the hardest levels. The Grandmaster maps in Strawberry Jam are, put simply, bonkers. Remember when I said there are 3 sub-difficulties for each main difficulty? If you don't, that's a sign of short-term memory loss and you might need to consume more magnesium. Well, the Grandmaster lobby breaks that scale, featuring 4 maps that exceed these difficulties, which are known as cracked maps. 2 of these cracked maps have made it onto the hard list, which is a spreadsheet that contains the hardest modded Celeste levels. The 2 levels in Strawberry Jam that made it onto this list are Pinball Purgatory and the Solar Express. Personally, I didn't struggle much with the Solar Express, but Pinball Purgatory was one of the most messed up experiences I've ever had. A big reason for this is because beating the map normally wasn't enough for me, and I did the whole thing with an extra mod that makes the bumpers, the core mechanic of the level, make a boing sound effect. Now you probably wouldn't think this, but that didn't actually have a positive influence on my mental health. Thankfully the music of the level was great, which made the experience a lot nicer. I even featured this level's theme in one of my Lethal Company highlights videos, which I think you should check out because it would be really cool. Almost every single level in this mod has custom music, with a few exceptions that simply use vanilla music or songs from a different game. On top of that, every single song is copyright free. You can actually donate money to the mod's Bandcamp page with your own price, but any proceeds go directly to the Trans Lifeline charity, and I'll put a link to both of those in the description if you're interested, because it's pretty cool. Every song in this video is a part of Strawberry Jam's soundtrack, so I'll also put the links to the songs used in the description too, in case any of them catch your attention. Another cool thing about the music is the motif present throughout most of the important parts of the game, like the menu screen, Grandmaster Lobby, and the notorious Grandmaster Heartside. I should probably explain what a Heartside is though, because they're kind of important. A Heartside is a huge level at the end of each lobby, where every room, or flag, is based off of a specific map in the lobby. However, a Heartside often crosses into the difficulty above, so the advanced Heartside features easy expert gameplay, and the expert Heartside features easy Grandmaster gameplay. So, you might be wondering, if Grandmaster is the hardest difficulty, where does the Heartside cross over into? Well, it's obvious, Grandmaster +1. You might be thinking that the +1 implies a +2, and that's because that's right. Thankfully nothing in Strawberry Jam is close to Grandmaster +2. The room playing on screen right now is the Pinball Purgatory flag for the Grandmaster Heartside, approximately yellow Grandmaster +1, and it took me over 7 painful hours to beat. I know this is going to sound narcissistic, but there's nothing more satisfying than watching your own completion of this room. I mean, just look at it. I promise I have friends. Now this is only flag 7, meaning there are 6 after it in the level, as each Heartside ends at flag 1. And flag 1 of the Grandmaster Heartside is more bonkers and bananas than anything in the universe. It makes sense that it's the craziest room in the mod, as it's the final room of the mod, but holy moly, it goes above and beyond. For context, flag 1 is based off of the level Shatter Song, a highly immersive and atmospheric level that everyone fears before they play it. This is mainly because it uses the cassette blocks from the original game, already a spooky mechanic, but it takes them to a whole new level, incorporating Grandmaster gameplay, like Reform Tech and Kasusted Fupas. When you beat flag 2 and get welcomed into flag 1, there's a very easy but scary little gauntlet of cassette blocks before you touch a Madeline bubble, and slowly start rising to the Pantheon's peak. Now that up there is a 5/3 polyrhythm. In case you're not a music person, this is what it looks like. Keep in mind that all the cassette blocks turn on and off to this rhythm, meaning there are 2 sets of cassette blocks that pulse in different rhythms. I'm gonna be honest, looking through the binoculars trying to route this was probably the most terrifying and intimidating thing I've ever seen in a video game. It was almost scarier than this jump scare in Garfield's Scary Scavenger Hunt. With all that out of the way, I'm just going to show my completion of this room because it's too cool not to show. Once you ascend to the heavens or whatever happened in that last cutscene, you're met with this really cool echoey music and a slow walk up to the final heart. Upon collecting the heart, the message Apotheosis appears on screen, which just means the culmination and climax of something, and then it fades out into an end artwork and some awesome credits. You can't convince me this isn't a full video game at this point. I truly think that this is the greatest mod of all time because I've never seen or played anything that gets remotely close to it in any aspect. Well, there actually might be one mod that gets close, though it's kind of debatable and would probably spark a lot of controversy. You probably guessed it, but I'm clearly referencing the WhatsApp Captain mod in Risk of Rain 2.